As we continue our journey on the pathway of excellence, we come to one that may be the easiest of them all from the standpoint that we talk about it a lot, we understand it pretty well, we think about it, it's all around us, we think about love. But then on the other side of things, it might be one of the more difficult ones to discuss. Because we talk about it in such confusing terms. We love our family. We love our pets. We love God. We love our new cars. That's just a little bit confusing. There's obviously something different about our response to every one of those. But certainly the pathway of excellence includes the excellence of love. In this passage, Paul writes in Philippians chapter 1, I want your love to abound more and more. That's the word excellent. I want it to abound. I want it to be overflowing. I want it to be superior. Paul said, I want you to have excellent love. When we look at this passage, I think we can come to understand what Paul is talking about in this excellent love. Walk with me, if you will, through this text and let us see what he is telling us. First of all, in verse 9, notice that Paul, in describing excellent love, says that love stands on a two-part foundation. Now, if something has two parts, if you don't have both of them, you don't have a foundation. Well, what are the foundation parts of love? Notice what he says. Number one, I want you to have excellent love, develop it more and more in knowledge. Excellent love is founded on knowledge. The word used here is a word that means I know because I have experienced it. I've been around it. I get it. It's a lot like someone who, if you are watching, for instance, a ball game, and you have someone who is a color analyst. Very often, the color analyst is a former player. And when you don't understand something really well in the broadcast, something happening in the game, the color analyst can come along and say, well, here is what that means. And the point is this: I played this game. I've been in that situation. Here is what it means. Well, that would be true for any of us who have experience in something that someone else does not have that same experience. You then become the analyst. You become the one who has the expertise to say, this is what it is. That's this word. Notice then what that means. Love, one part of love, is experiencing. Coming to love by the experience. Well, how do you experience something that leads to love? Well, I would suggest at least these ideas. Time. We come to know things over time. That's why it takes 12, 14, 17, ever how long it took you to get out of high school. It's time. You spend time moving forward until you're able to say, okay, I made it through. It takes time. To love excellently requires time. You can't say, okay, I'm going to have excellent love and I'm going to do it for 1 minute every now and then. It just won't work. In our society, a couple never gets to the point of being in love in order to be married by spending only a minute together every other month. It just doesn't work. It takes time. But then number two, I believe it takes listening. Listening. That's how you gain knowledge. That's what happened in class with school. You were taught something, or you read it in a book, or you heard it. You were listening. In other words, to have excellent love that Paul is talking about, he is saying it takes an investment of time in which you really sit and listen. That's how you learn to love. Notice, he said, I want this to be more and more. It obviously then is something we learn to do. It doesn't just smack us upside the head and go, I'm not in love, pow, I'm in love. It just doesn't happen that way. Now, it might happen that you become aware that you like someone rather intensely with a slap in the head, but it's not love. Because love takes time and effort involved in listening. Notice the second part of excellent love, all discernment. This word discernment means that I am able to look through the hazy realm of unclear morality and figure out what is right. All around us, it's unclear. It seems like no one understands what's right and wrong. And many people are caught up in that. But love says, I'm going to figure this out. It would be the love of God that would say, I want to know what's right with this concept so I can look through that haze of immorality and learn to be moral. It is the love you have for a spouse that says, I will look through the haze of things that are difficult and hard and that I'm having a hard time with, but I'm going to figure out a way to make this work, because that's what love is. Love takes all of that knowledge that you have and puts it into practice the way you live. That's what it's all about. So Paul says, number one, if you have excellent love, it will be because you have learned through an investment of time to listen and understand, and then having attained that knowledge, you put it into practice. That's how you know you love God. Didn't Jesus say, if you love me, you will keep my commands? Number 2, verse 10. I want you to have excellent love so that you can approve things that are excellent. I want you to approve things that are excellent. Love moves you into a clear focus of what you ought to be doing. It's when that focus is cloudy that we don't move in proper directions. Notice the focus of love. Approving things. The Greek word here is Dokimazo. We get our word document from that word. Here's what it means. To approve means you make a record of what you figured out is right. This is a recording of the things that you know to be right, approving it. It is established and stamped and true. It is approved. I've made a record of it. It's an interesting phrase in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5, that love chapter of the Bible, listing all of the various qualities of love that it has and does not have. The New King James reads in verse 5, thinks no evil. Another translation of that phrase is this: keeps no records of evil things. How many times with people you love have you been in a problem and you can call quickly a record of things from the past that you try to drag into the present? Don't keep a record of evil. That's what love does. It approves, it records, it impresses on the mind approved things, not evil things. And therefore, number two, these are the excellent things. These are the things that are unblemished. These are the things that are pure and right and good. These are excellent things. It's a different word than the word we are using for excellence in this series of lessons, but it's the word that also means it's of a higher level. This is excellent. Anyone who wants to have excellent love will record in their minds the things that are approved and the things that everyone understands to be excellent, to be good, to be wholesome, to be necessary. The goal, the focus of excellent love is to figure out what is excellent and then record it in your mind, and not to hold on to a record of things that are not excellent. Number three, the end of verse 10, that you may be sincere and without offense. Excellent love looks for a proper finish. You have the focus on approved excellence. And then excellent love says, I want to finish well. Why do we have this focus? What is the purpose behind focusing on approved things? So that we can be sincere. So that we can be pure. That is another translation here. Pure. The word is actually a compound word. The first part means the shining of the sun. And the second part means to judge. You know what it means to be sincere? It means that when the light of day shines upon it, it is proven to be good and wholesome and real. And not only that, when the sun shines, it will not reveal things that are evil and cruel, but rather it will say, this is wholesome for the daylight. Paul often referred to the things done in darkness. Not that everything done in darkness is evil, but rather it's a way of understanding. Darkness, hidden, secret. I can get away with it. versus in the open light of day when everybody sees it. It is a word that means transparent. The light shines right through it, and you see it for what it really is. Transparent to everyone, because you are unashamed of who you are and what you are. Love finishes us to be sincere people. Number two, to be without blame or blameless. That is, not causing harm to anybody else. When anybody looks at you, they have nothing to hold over your head. Now, granted, not one of us is sinless, and not one of us is able to go through long stretches of time without making a mess of something. But we can still be blameless. In fact, for those men who are going to serve as shepherds of a local congregation, one of the characteristics must be that they are blameless. That's this word. And it means no one can hold against them a continuing and ongoing problem. That is, when you shine the light of day on them, they look the same, whether it is day or night. If you want to have excellent love, you do that, then you will be in the arena of being sincere and blameless. But finally, look what Paul says. Being filled with the fruits of righteousness. The terminology actually reads this way: having been filled with the fruits of righteousness. This word fill is a word that is individual in scope. It means filled to the full that you should have. You take a gallon jug. You can't put 2 gallons of liquid in it. When a gallon is in it, it is full. Take a small cup, fill it up. It's full, but it is less than the gallon jug. But they're both full. That's what he's talking about. He is saying that every one of us is an individual. We're all different, and we all have talents and traits and gifts and opportunities from God. And there is a way in which every one of us should be filled. It calls to mind the talents, right? The man given 5, the man given 2, the man given 1. They were all filled. They had what they were allowed to have. They were on equal footing with respect to the fact that they all had responsibility, but they didn't have the same amount. None of us are exactly alike. We all have a filling that we ought to have that is individual to us. It's based on our talents and our traits and our abilities and the gifts that God has given. But when I fill myself to the full that I ought to be, I am filled as God would have me be. It is possible to grow yourself. The 5-talent guy got 5 more. The 2-talent guy got 2 more. The 1-talent guy should have. He didn't. But I can fill myself, and when I am filled, it's amazing that God can give me opportunities to expand and grow because I was filled and then I grew from it. Having been filled with the fruits of righteousness. You know what? I think we're talking about a wheel here. If I am filling myself with righteousness, then I have the potential to have excellent love because I've built that foundation. Then I have the focus to look for the things that are approved. I want to be finished sincere and blameless because I have the fruits of righteousness, which help me to focus more on things that are right and pure. And this wheel of life just keeps turning. Excellent love. Here's what I know. If you have experienced in some form excellent love, there is nothing that compares to it. If you have experienced the excellent love of husband and wife, there is nothing that compares to it. It is its own. If you've experienced the love of parent to child, nothing can compare to it. It is its own. Excellent love, I hope you have experienced it or will. But I know this. We all have been given excellent love from God. Because God gave of himself to show us what love is. It is excellent. In fact, God says, God is love. He is the embodiment of love, and it is excellent. Some people in a gathering like this are broken. There's something happening, something wrong, something damaged in your life. The excellent love of God draws you to say, I can't find it over here. I can't find it over here, but I can find it up here. If today you're a broken person in some way, the love of Christ compels us. It can draw you to him so that you can be filled with the excellent love that he provides. If you've never obeyed the gospel, never obeyed Jesus, you've missed out on what it means to be filled with the love of God. Today, you can be immersed into Jesus, and you can become a brand new creature filled with the love of Christ. Or maybe the fog and haze of the world has led you away. And as John wrote to the Ephesians, you've left your first love. You can come back, and you'll feel again how wonderful is the warmth of excellent love. We want to be people of love who love those who need it the most. And today at this time, if you need it the most, we're here to help you if you'll come as we stand and sing together.